Good afternoon, traders. My name is Raul Rivera. I'm the founder of themarketprofile.com. Today is September 14th, 2017. Let's get started with today's trading. So today we had a really great trade here in the S&P 500 futures. Early this morning, we figured we're probably going to remain in another trading range day. Every time we get to new all-time highs without a catalyst to really push us any further, we usually always just remain in a sideways pattern per se, right? D-shaped distributions with really not much going for the market. Here we have a D-shaped distribution. Here we have another D-shaped distribution. And on this day, you know, arguably there is a P-shaped distribution in there somewhere, but it's so tight that there's a lot of distribution that occurred sideways pretty much, right? A lot of sideways distribution down here, a lot of sideways distribution over here, and not a lot of range expansion, which is what creates P-shaped distributions. If anything, the P-shaped distribution we have in there feels a little bit top heavy, right? This looks like it's going to tip over. But yeah, we've been consolidating here at all-time highs, you know, almost every single day, making a new all-time high by a few ticks, maybe a couple of points, but we're not there yet. Tomorrow we have retail sales that'll be due at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, and I think that's gonna be what either takes us very close to 2,500, or we wait till next week for the Fed decision on monetary policy, the September Fed meeting, and which is going to be the second biggest news event of the month. You know, as always, I always say there's two big events every single month. The first is the non-farm payrolls. This one we trying to get long, as you can see, the Fed decision. That was the area to get long. This one. So ultimately, all we tried to do here with the market profile is buy the exact same area that pretty much early in the session we determined that 86 to probably in a trend. As you can see here, yesterday we didn't quite get to its way higher. Probably today we got right down into it, followed by a 6. I had 3 contracts at 88 and another 3 at 86. I got filled at 88. It went from the low all the way to the high. Trending up pattern. Remember, I believe the all-time high was consolidation 96.25. P-shape equals and trending up pattern. Ended up taking the trade off for 5 points down. Profit could have had 8, right? So we're in a trending up pattern. I was looking for further upside. The idea was to get as long. You can see, have VWAP or TWAP. The institutional order flow. No range extensions today, so we were trying to get long in TWAP. And this one is just they haven't stopped. Absolutely unlucky. This probably would have been upslope. We had the trade of the day for 1,000. So we were trying to get long right at TWAP, right? Meaning that there are more buyers than sellers. 76 was and the buyers outnumber the sellers by the very low of that bar. In fact, let me zoom in for you guys. So that's what we mean by buying pressure, selling pressure. Right here, the very low of that positive and negative imbalance. 48, this were a negative number, it would mean that 48.78, and I was trying to get long. We can see that two simple contracts at 48.76. Although we're not moving any higher, all it needed was there is someone in here. Come on, crude. You could have done on this big day on Monday. We had a ton of buying, and then reversed very quickly. A lot of buying to make a high of the day here. 49.40 Tuesday. Tons and tons of buying in the S&P 500. So would have been a spectacular trade, you know, 50 ticks plus trade Wednesday. But just because of 2 ticks, we weren't mostly sideways. Institutional traders ended in the negative for crude oil realm. Most of the time, it just consolidated sideways. I'm not fully convinced that you know it was mostly selling crude oil to the short. You know, it looks like it wants to continue to go higher. This probably profit taking rally into these highs, really taking off now. Early in the session, as low as there was plenty of buyers. 45, 80, 46, and now we're all the way at 49. And then today it has been nothing but buyers, buyers, and more buyers again. And it just goes to show the volatility that consolidate crude oil market. I mean, on any given day, almost 100 plus ticks taking out a big milestone of 25. Definitely a lot of someone's building a position long here in crude oil. You know, just keep an eye on the S&P 500. More than likely, it goes. Okay, next up we have. Next up, we have the gold market. This one, this was my second trade in this one. Perfectly executed. What a day for crude oil. I mean, they want to blame it on supply and demand. It's a supply-demand driven market right now in crude oil. Gold, I just called, was also an inside day because we had a huge inventory crude and crude oil. how is that supply and demand?
That's not what
right.
I'm talking
How
about. I'm
is
talking
that
about
supply and demand?
Here is
if you have more supply, how does that increase demand?
Here's the range from high
right.
to
We
low.
know that
Even right now, I mean, this is
the
all
way it
after the
works
market developed
is
and everything.
more
And
supply,
we're still trading in size, so we were
less demand,
looking for the inside day
equals
trade and
lower prices.
Before we traded lower, we were pretty much this was the
less
profile
supply,
that we saw early
more
this morning.
demand.
Right, so D-shaped distribution
Equals higher
inside
prices.
day. We want to be long just below value and short just above value.
Higher
now,
prices.
I didn't want to take a short.
So how is
market
it that
super strong
this
right now? So there's no real
calculation
reason
is driving
to
prices
short,
higher?
But I did want to be
don't.
long, so I had two contracts sitting here.
The market
40
loves to
39,
be opposite of
and
what
I think I made a
it's
mistake
really
with this one. I should have gone
doing. I mean, you
41
go back
to
and look
40
at the
rather than 40 to 39.
the APIs.
I think I just when I was
Department
drawing
of
this
Energy reports, and you will see
green
that
bar, I think
builds in crude oil.
I don't know. It was early this morning,
but probably
even
when we
half
had an
asleep
inventory
and,
draw, we had like
I put it in the wrong spot, so I missed an opportunity to get long
crude
at
oil
that
has
area.
no reaction to the
after the
inventory
market came down into it. Here
Now,
you can see 40 to 41.
You go back to last month,
right
we had a
on
lot
that
of
tail,
inventory
traded
draws
as high
in
as
crude oil, and prices just
46
continued to go
guide,
lower
even
because
just
of the
one
hurricane.
contract.
And it wasn't until after the hurricane
50
that
ticks,
started
which
trading higher.
turns out to be about
You know,
$500.
it's almost like opposite day
even
when it comes
on
to
just one contract, right? On just one
crude oil.
contract.
It's
But
very
since we missed
difficult
that
to
one,
read.
I decided to cancel.
It was very easy to read those trades
earlier
there.
in the year. I
This
figured, you know
second
what,
half of
if
the year has
we
become
come
a
back
little
to
bit
this
bothersome
low, we're more than
when it
likely
comes
going to
to
trade lower
reading
and probably going to go into this value
crude
area
oil
here.
and
Getting the
switching back
fundamentals
over to
correct,
profile
view.
Sure, you know,
We got a value area low.
And
Financial
the
media
low
needs an
of the
excuse
day
to
here,
say,
not
hey,
that,
why is crude oil
really
higher?
used the low
Today it just happens
Well,
to be
coincidentally,
okay, well,
this
not
value
really
area
true.
also happens
Stop
to
trying
be
to fool
there,
people
so.
into thinking that it's based on supply.
So I took it
and
with a grain of salt.
Anyways, we have a
and
D-shaped distribution early in the
decided
session,
to get
followed by a
long
P-shaped
between
38 and 36. As you can see, that happens to be
all
the
day
absolute
long.
bottom of the day, and market
But
did trade higher from
at
there.
the highs,
By the time I took the trade, it was already like
of selling going
115.
on
This market
by
closes
the
at around
institutions,
130.
okay?
And it's
A
not
lot
that
of
it
this selling was
closes,
taking
but
place
it says
at
the market
130,
was moving high, meaning that anything after 130 is post-settlement.
And that's
trading.
usually how these
And during
guys
post-settlement trading, there's usually a very,
how these
very
guys
slow
operate,
type
right?
of trading, and volume just pretty much dies out.
Here we had a
So I
ton
knew
of
the risk I
buying
was
in the overnight
taking,
session right around
and I
here.
knew I probably wouldn't get much out of the trade. I did manage to get
that
at least
directly,
just 1 point. I had 3 points on 4
under.
contracts.
And then
So I got
as
two
the
contracts
market is
long
ripping to
at
the upside,
38, and then
what are
two
these guys
contracts
doing? They're
long
just
at
starting
37.
to roll over.
You can see it
little
traded
by
as
little.
high after my
Because
fill.
the idea is always to buy low and
40-60.
sell high.
My
That's what
average, I
tend to
believe,
do
was
every
around
time.
37
every single day in the trading,
and it traded
try
as high
to
as
play the game
40-60.
the
So
same way as
there's
the
the
smart
3
money.
points I
Obviously,
talked about.
these guys have
but I didn't take it off at that
you know,
high. I actually took it off
better
1
access
point.
to information,
The reason
deeper
being,
pockets.
I was looking for a target.
I'll never
up
ever
here in the
100%
43 to 45 area. But
do
on this
exactly
bar,
as they do,
right here,
but
the
I can
2
come very,
o'clock
very
bar,
close to doing so.
130
just
to
following
2
the
o'clock.
simple
This
philosophy
bar right here,
of buying low and
we
selling
see this
high,
big tail,
okay?
but this tail was a
I
lot
did that
longer.
today in the S&P 500.
We traded all the way
and
up there
got
and
me a
then
good
traded
5 points
and pretty
the
much
very
to make
bottom
this
of the
bar
day,
into a doji.
right?
So
Market
like, you know
profile,
what?
it's a
You know,
big
that's what it
selling
allows
tail.
me
I don't
to
want to
be
do.
part of it.
It
So I
allows
took
me
one
to buy at lower
I
prices.
took 1
sell at
point out of
higher
the trade on
prices.
4 contracts. Comes out to
And
$400.
I can do it very accurately.
Not a bad trade at all. Could have been a lot more.
The institutions
Wish it had
use
been
these
a lot
tools
more
as well.
but
I'm sure
I'll take whatever
they
I
have
can get.
even more advanced tools
Profit is
than the market
a
profile,
profit, and that
but
was the trade here.
they still
in
go
gold,
back to
but
the
as you can
original,
see, you know,
right? Because market profile,
The market
tell us
profile,
what
I don't
direction
just
the market
draw
is trading.
lines.
Okay,
I use
here we had
values
D-shaped
based on market
consolidation.
profile.
Here we had a
This one
P-shape,
was a value
which
area
is
low. A
lo and
trending
behold
up
happens
pattern.
to be the
So
low of
more
the
than
day.
likely,
We're going to
for
retest
today.
the highs and possibly trade higher. We don't have to trade higher,
And
but we
finally, we got
should
the
at
30-year
some
bond.
point
And this
retest
one,
the
I
high.
had an
least.
order here. I
At the
canceled
highs,
it,
they started selling
just simply
these,
because
and,
you know the
you
market
can see
was
the
just trading
after
sideways
math
all day
was
long. Like,
just
you know
to
what?
sell
I don't want to be surprised
crude
later
oil,
if it does
for the
sell
rest
off.
of the
It'll probably
session after
continue to go
making
lower.
some,
You know,
uh,
me and the 30-year, we have
exciting
this
highs.
weird relationship, right? Where sometimes I'm right on the trade and sometimes I'm wrong.
Going back to this
But
view,
most of the
E
time,
followed
I
by
make
P,
the
find a place
zeros
to
no
buy it.
money
This
trading
brings
30 years.
up
So I figured
one of our
if I don't get in early
techniques,
on a
which
trade,
is
I don't want to
buying
get in
VWAP
at all.
and TWAP.
So
So every time we have a
D-shaped
trending
distribution
up pattern
here
on the market profile, we want to be
for
buyers
most of
at
the
VWAP
session.
and TWAP. If it is the opposite, we have a
Remember,
trending down
D-shaped
pattern,
distribution
and we want to
is
sell
a
consolidation pattern
like right here,
so
even though this wasn't really a trending pattern.
right, you know, it might be hard to recognize for those of you who are here. I actually got long at VWAP 49.93. That's bringing it back to something more familiar, like candlesticks. When I got consolidation, what is consolidation? It was good for 19 ticks at its best, right? Probably should have just taken the trade off right there. But market dropped, reversed quickly, and I took a B-shaped distribution, my trade off and down pattern, which was really just one tick, right? A little bit of consolidation, covers commissions. You know, puts maybe like $20 in my pocket. Software for Ninja Trader, not a lot of profit so wonderful. You might not have to guess just one tick cover out commission as to what profile shape you have. All you can do is just margins very simply. Could have tried it again here at pretty much Decipher and take a look at the distribution shapes yourselves. 58, but followed by a B. Right, that's where TWAP is. But it's so late in the day at that point. There's no point in trying to not looking to get long. This was on a trend earlier in the session. I'd be all over it, the place to get long. But once again, you know, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, we had positive. I believe the biggest I saw was 9,000. Around 1 o'clock is when the market got down to we ended the day at negative 1,400. It's too late. This market closes in 2 hours. It's not going to bounce back from there. Which eventually the rest of the market also, I mean, lower. They've been selling it all day long, and it's mostly been profit takers. On this day, we traded a lot lower, but institutions were buying, and this one had a pretty boring day. They were buying like crazy. This was the holiday, so we're going to skip this day. Not a lot of institutional flow on that day. We were looking to be buyers as the market was trading higher. These guys were selling, which means whoever got long here was profit taking 15 and 14 continued the profit taking today. And looking to sell it, we consolidated 40. Again, tons and tons of institutional selling. In fact, the high and the low even of the day, it's selling to close, was made selling, right. And if inside of a half the price of the asset should fall down. If we take a look at so that should hybrid, another reason as to why I didn't want to take this early in the session, especially that high. This was after so far it closed at negative 15,000 balance. I forget which one. Still, I don't think it's fresh selling. I think it's profit taking. You know, the key word in CPI, profit taking is the same thing as selling. It's not really the time to get long at the moment. The institutions are taking their profits, price in, and they're selling. You know, why should you? None of that really matters. What really matters, the key word in there is inflation. Right. So that's all the time I have for today. Those were some of the trades I took for the day, and. When you talk about inflation, you talk about gold, you talk about currency. First time, I'd like to invite you guys to the website, www. No wonder the S&P had a reaction 14-day free trial. Crude oil didn't have a reaction to the news. You'll watch me trade live every single day. But here, gold, 30-year currencies, they all had a reaction. You'll watch me trade live. It set every single one of these markets plus other markets as well. Within I don't just trade these four. Eventually, we do take out the highs. I trade the euro, I trade the yen. Sideways. I mean, that's usually what Nasdaq, sometimes even the Russell, and many other contracts. Try the, trade the edges of the market is the way. And also, you'll also watch me trading a D-shaped distribution. The risk manage these trades live the edges of the market on consolidation. You'll watch me pretty much. I'll teach, and you'll also watch me. Right, it doesn't come back down. It just keeps going up. In order to find these areas of value where I want to trading right, all we do is, and I'll also teach you the strategies that we use based on market profile every single day. Gold, we definitely swing by www.themarketprofile.com. Any sort of it's free, 14 days. See if this is something that we tried to be buyers. Other than that, under here where we have on Facebook, make sure you guys 16 like, and if you want to comment just or have something to say, definitely prices where we had value in the comment box below. I hope everybody has a great rest of your day, and I will see everybody again tomorrow. No cigar there. And finally, the 30-year bond. This one, we didn't really do any analysis on it, but more than likely we would have tried to be buyers at some point, but with the 30-year, we've just kind of been hanging back. We haven't made too much money with the 30-year. We've made plenty of capital and plenty of we've gotten plenty of rewards from gold, and why trade something that's not yielding the kind of results that you're looking for? But interestingly enough, you always got to look at these markets, whether you trade them or not. You'll find patterns here. And the pattern here is that on this day, and today, we have nothing but selling from the institutions, selling from the institutions, and selling from the institutions. While at the same time, we go back here to the S&P and we have buying from the institutions, buying from the institutions, and further buying from the institutions. Okay, call it rotation. Okay, but at all-time highs, you know, and volatility back down to 10, there's, you know, it's risk on. Everybody get back into stocks. You know, North Korea, the White House, Congress, you know, none of that is an issue anymore. So start buying stocks again. They're probably going to go higher, and the S&P 500 is telling you that. Volatility is telling you that. We're seeing institutional order flow telling us that, right? A lot of buyers here in the S&P. In fact, we were at 16,000 positive. Now we're at 20,000. So, you know, post-settlement trades coming in here in the S&P, all bullish to the upside. Buyers, buyers, buyers. And, you know, when we go back up here to the 30-year bond, it's nothing but sellers, sellers, sellers. So some kind of rotation happening here, and you know, we should expect the 30-year bond to probably continue to go lower as the S&P makes some new all-time highs. Anyways, guys, that's all the time I have for today. Keep an eye on the S&P 500, as we all are. Everybody's watching the S&P 500, waiting for that 2,500. The Nasdaq is, you know, dilly-dallying at all-time highs, and the Dow futures are actually ripping to the upside. But you know, the S&P 500 is the one that everybody wants to watch, the one that everybody wants to trade, and it's the one with the most volume. Why not? All right, guys, so like I said, that's all the time I have for today. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you guys click like on Facebook Live, and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are on the video, or any questions that you guys may have on market profile, or any of the tools that we use here in our trading room. And I'd also like to invite you guys to the live trading room. Visit us at www.themarketprofile.com. You know, we give out free trials to first-time members, first-timers only. 14-day free trial to our live trading room, where you'll watch me trade all of these markets, analyze the market profile, and manage trades live, real time, as well as take a look at our wonderful indicators, which have helped many of our room members out. We also have education, and hey, love to see you there. Anyways, guys, have a great day, and I will see you guys tomorrow.